This one's wife, their fawning, repulses us. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. Further evidence of the idiocy of this one's wife and Harry as reported by Petter Raziden for the Nightly. Apparently, Harry and this one's wife were repulsed by the royals fawning over Donald Trump during the state visit to the United Kingdom. As you know, last week, Donald, the President of the United States, made his second state visit to the United Kingdom. All of the ceremony and pomp and circumstance was rolled out, and there was a banquet, a state banquet, that he attended at Windsor. And the eyes of the world's media were upon all those attending, various high-profile individuals, plenty of reportage and column inches, which, as I explained, had this one's wife fuming in Monty Shit Show. Her response was piss poor. A picture of her in the garden, and then an attendance at Kevin Costner's event, where they weren't photographed with Kevin Costner, and this one's wife was seen at the side of the stage, looking in and seething. But the report continues by explaining that Prince Harry and this one's wife, were reportedly repulsed by the behaviour of the royal family during Donald Trump's state visit to the United Kingdom, with one moment in particular leaving them disgusted. Led by King Charles and ably assisted by a glowing Princess of Wales and the rest of the senior members of the family, the US President and the First Lady, Melania, were treated to the full force of British pageantry, including the largest military ceremonial welcome for a state visit in living memory. Mr. Trump is the first elected politician to be given the privilege twice, and made little secret of his delight with being at the centre of all the pomp and ceremony. Pausing there, as you would expect, narcissists such as Donald Trump would be revelling in the fact that he is getting all of this attention, that all of this pomp and circumstance and ceremony is being rolled out for him. It's massive amounts of fuel for him, both in terms of the event itself and the coverage thereafter. "This is truly one of the highest honours of my life," he said, but the Sussexes were less than impressed. There was already no love lost between Harry and this one's wife and the Trumps after run-ins with the president in the past, but this latest UK visit has added fuel to the flames. This one's wife has previously labelled Mr. Trump misogynistic and divisive, use of insult for the purposes of assertion of control, while Mr. Trump has called her nasty and said Harry is whipped, similar insults for the purposes of assertion of control. Commenting on the cloud hanging over Harry's US visa due to his admission of drug use, President Trump in February said he would not deport the prince. "I'll leave him alone. He's got enough problems with his wife. She's terrible," Mr. Trump said. Once again, the utilisation of the truth for the purposes of the assertion of control and the drawing of fuel. An investigation had been launched into whether Harry received preferential treatment after he admitted to having used cocaine, cannabis, and psychedelic mushrooms in his memoir. But President Trump was far more complimentary about the Princess of Wales and clearly enchanted by her beauty, remarking on it a number of times during the state visit. Dressed in a golden gown and wearing Princess Diana's tiara, Catherine was seated next to him at a lavish state banquet held at Windsor Castle on Wednesday. He hailed Kate as so radiant and so healthy and so beautiful, and he said something similar as she greeted him and Melania with William, Prince of Wales, at the start of the state visit. "You're so beautiful, so beautiful." Mr. Trump appeared to take a veiled swipe at Harry during his speech in front of high-profile guests at the state banquet. The US President told host King Charles that he had a remarkable son in His Royal Highness the Prince of Wales, and calling him really amazing, predicting he would enjoy an unbelievable amount of success in the future. But he completely snubbed Harry, making no mention of the fifth in line to the throne. Harry and this one's wife can't believe what they're seeing, a California-based insider explained, adding they were repulsed. The pomp, the handshakes, the compliments. To them, it looks like bowing down to a man who has openly insulted them for years. Another source stated, "It was a dig, no question. Watching the family laugh along felt like betrayal. Harry and this one's wife won't forget this night or the message it sent. Now, there are a number of things that arise from this report. First of all, note that sources have expressed this repulsion on the part of this one's wife and Harry. But notice the cowardly way of the middle mid-range narcissist. This one's wife hitherto has called Trump divisive and misogynistic. Here, that's repeated indirectly through an indirect source. And the suggestion is that this one's wife and Harry were repulsed by the royal family's behaviour. Thus, this one's wife needs to make it known that they don't approve of Trump and that they're repulsed by the royal family's supposed kissing ass of him. And yet, not so long ago, this one's wife had an opportunity to express her views about Donald Trump. When she appeared in the Bloomberg interview, she was asked, "Are there things you're dying to say or do right now but feel you can't?" And this was in relation to talking about Donald Trump. She referenced her appearance, this one's wife's appearance, on the Nightly Show with Larry Wilmore in 2016. And the interviewer questioned her about the choice words she had used concerning President Trump during that period and asks, "Are there things you're dying to say or do right now but feel like you can't?" So here was an opportunity for this one's wife to speak out against Trump once again. But what did she do? She stated, "No, I just make a choice of what matters to me and what's important to me." And that was a different time in 2016, certainly. I think if there's anything I wanted to say or that I felt necessary to say, then I would say it, but that's not where I'm at right now. I haven't said anything political since 2016, which was well before I met my husband, too. So she doesn't speak up. She's a coward. She dodges it. Rather than speak her mind and reinforce what she thinks about Trump, she dodges the question and then, through a third party, makes it known that she was repulsed by the behaviour of the royal family in fawning over Trump, reinforcing the cowardly behaviour of this one's wife. It also demonstrates the idiocy of this one's wife and Harry in two ways. First of all, for this one's wife, her reaction demonstrates the envy, that she can't stand the fact that she wasn't involved, and thus she has to make it known through a third party that she's repulsed by the supposed fawning. As I explained in earlier videos, the fact that she wasn't involved at this state banquet, even though there was no reason whatsoever that she would be, the fact that she wasn't involved and there was favourable publication about William and Catherine really got to her. And the result is this envy that's seen through the issuing of this view that they found the behaviour repulsive. She thinks everything must revolve around her and that she ought to have been involved. Thirdly, for somebody who apparently studied international relations, she demonstrates a complete inability to understand them and recognise that the reaction of the royal family isn't directed to President Trump, but the office that he holds. Any president of the United States will be welcomed in this way, that there would be a state banquet held for that president, that the pomp and circumstance would be rolled out for them. It's called diplomacy. And that the pleasantries and welcome that was offered by Charles, by Camilla, by William, by Catherine is part of the soft power that's wielded by the royal family as part of those diplomatic relations. But of course, Harry won't get that because he's thick, and this one's wife won't get it because she's blinded by the envy of her narcissism, and also because she's not particularly bright herself. What she sees as fawning is actually diplomacy, because she doesn't get it, and she had a jaundiced view generated by her narcissism. Thus, hating the fact that she wasn't involved, seething at the fact that Catherine and William were the ones receiving the plaudits, cowardly by missing out on the opportunity to speak candidly about Trump when interviewed. What she does is have it leaked to the third party that they found the behaviour of the royal family repulsive. And also the fact that they thought that this was being done as a jibe at her once again demonstrates her self-absorbed behaviour. The royal family would not have been thinking about Harry or this one's wife on that occasion. They weren't laughing along with Trump in order to poke, metaphorically, Harry and this one's wife in the eye. They weren't even thinking about them. They were laughing along because it was the polite thing to do as part of the diplomacy. But once again, the self-centred attitude of this one's wife causes her to think that it's a direct slight against her, demonstrating once again the paranoia of the narcissist. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.